first off, I'd very much like to thank everybody who's joining us today to learn more about how to maximize profit from quote to sales to service, how industrial manufacturers are streamlining RevOps. With me today, next slide, I'd like to introduce the speakers today. We've got Christina Nielsen, who is the Senior Director of CRM and Sales Education for Lawson Products, one of the largest industrial distribution companies in the US, with over 3,000 employees and over $400 million in annual revenues. She is responsible for the design and implementation of all CRM and order entry systems at Lawson. Welcome, Christina. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Also with us is Jagadish Bandhol. He is the CEO and co-founder of Mobileforce Software, the fast-growing B2B software company that offers the industry's first intelligent RevOps as a service platform. Hi, Jagadish. Great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thanks, Clint.
You bet. And myself, I'm Clint Orm. I'm the co-founder and chief strategy officer of SugarCRM, the CRM that helps marketing, sales, and service teams reach peak efficiency through better automation, data, and intelligence so that they can achieve a real-time, reliable view of each customer. Well, again, I'd like to thank my co-speakers here today joining us in the call and in this webinar where we walk through the RevOps topic, and very excited to have you here to share your stories with us. In fact, let's take a moment and step through the agenda and outline how the next hour ahead of us will unfold. So again, just a couple more moments of me saying welcome to everybody. Thank you, everybody, to be here. Then we'll step into a bit of a presentation from Christina. Well, she'll talk about the lessons learned that she's had at Lawson Products around the RevOps role and how to accelerate that. And then Jagadish is going to tell us more about the Mobileforce product and how it's integrated with SugarCRM. And he'll actually do a bit of a demo for us too. And then at the end, we'll be doing a Q&A with the three of us. And in there, what I'd like to direct our audience members to is, first and foremost, everybody's on mute. So during this session, if you have questions, and we really do hope you have questions, please go ahead and click on the questions icon in the GoToWebinar menu bar and go ahead and submit your questions there. If you happen to put it into the chat session, no worries. We're monitoring both chat and questions here during the webinar. And we'll be about 50 minutes or so total as a webinar. And so let's go ahead and kick it off. Christina, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Clint. And thank you certainly to everyone for being here to learn about what I believe is such an impactful topic. Not only, as Clint mentioned earlier on, in the lives of our salespeople, but also in the lives of our customers, because that ecosystem is very much hand in glove. First, I'd like to quickly introduce myself here on the next slide. What you could take away from me is that my business experience is across several different B2B industries, which is helpful to have context from around the horn. And although I did start my career in marketing, I've held leadership positions dancing around basically everything that's customer and revenue related. If I could characterize my career in a nutshell, which would be regardless of the department or the function that I was a part of, it's primarily around building things that either didn't exist before or fixing things that need to perform better. And in the case of leading Lawson CRM and CPQ selection, design, and implementation process, it was a bit of a combination of the two. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Lawson. So you have some context for the business situation and for how we're addressing our customer experience and RevOps opportunities with Sugar and Mobileforce combined. First, when I say Lawson, I'm actually referring in shorthand to two different brands, Lawson and Kent Automotive. We deal in the distribution of small consumable parts, servicing the industrial maintenance and the automotive aftermarket sectors, respectively. So Lawson operates in what would be called more broadly the MRO space, and Kent Automotive in the automotive aftermarket space. We go to market through about 1,000 salespeople throughout North America, meaning that the majority of our sales force wakes up in the morning, they get in their vehicles, and they visit as many customers and potential customers face to face as they can on a daily basis. And I'll tell you what it is in a moment about our value prop that makes that important. But to say that our business is highly transactional would be a gross understatement. In fact, in total, our sales organization places an average of about 2,500 orders per day. And so when we talk more about Mobileforce, that's a really important consideration. As far as what the majority of our sales folks do every day, it's centered around what's called vendor managed inventory. So our value proposition as a distributor, in addition to making sure our customers have the right parts at the right time, is that we organize and manage the small parts of our customer operations so they don't have to. That's why it's so important for our salespeople to be in the market, in their customer shops on a day-to-day basis. So what I'm hoping you're hearing as far as it concerns some of the hallmarks of our business that we needed to really consider in the forefront when we made our CRM and CPQ selections is that we have a lot of customers, we have a lot of individual products, as a lot of mainline distributors do, and we live and die by our transactional throughput. The scope of our implementation was quite broad. It means that our entire customer-facing and customer support departments that support the ecosystem of sales and the customer are using our SugarCRM and Mobileforce solutions. So that said, on the next slide, you can see that our solution is all-encompassing from a CRM and an order entry perspective, beginning with and primarily SugarCell and Mobileforce, the combination of which are meant to capture and optimize the bulk of our RevOps processes and our direct sales interactions, of course. But we build upon that with SugarMarket and SugarServe, which in our world completes the entire customer experience. If you take a look under the sheets, though, it's really two systems, but viewed through a single pane of glass to make our internal users' experiences more unified and simplified across those customer-facing and customer support departments versus having to go to disparate systems that don't talk to each other. That's really a big reason why we chose SugarCRM and Mobileforce. It was a pretty intense RFP and selection process because each system truly does what they do best, yet they're ideally integrated to pass information between them that allows us to see ultimately a more cohesive picture, marrying the transactional and the non-transactional customer experience together. It paints a more colorful picture, so to speak, of what's happening in the lives of our sales reps and our customers. And I'll say, especially from a CPQ perspective, we needed a solution that would be very flexible, flexible enough to accommodate a highly complex and variable pricing model, and to allow for online and offline access. Remember, because of how we go to market, we are in our customers' locations and facilities at the point of sale. And when you're within a customer location, the circumstances can be very different. So capturing an order while you're online in a manufacturing plant is great, but you still need to be able to capture that order if you're a half mile underground in a mining shaft. So it was a tall order, as Jagadish can probably attest to, when it comes to CPQ and our order entry needs. On the next slide, I want to let everybody know that at the top of our list from an objectives perspective was 100% adoption. And you don't gain 100% adoption with your sellers and your support teams unless you're able to meet their goals, right? We had a lot of opportunity, we learned, to take friction out of the revenue attainment process for our salespeople. So a part of what we did is we asked a lot of different user groups in the company that I'm characterizing here into 3 buckets. What do we have to do in order to deliver a system that you will fall in love with? And it was pretty simple. From the salespeople's perspective, it was make my job easier. Don't make me run around to a lot of different destinations to find information, to find answers. that I need to close the deal while I'm standing in front of the customer at the point of sale. Not 10 minutes from now when I'm on Wi-Fi at Starbucks or when I get home later this afternoon, but to close the deal and get a PO right at the point of sale. From a leadership perspective, sales leadership specifically, it was all about give me better insights so I can coach more productive behaviors and therefore revenue outcomes. Finally, and on the far right here, from an internal support perspective, it was I need to automate and centralize the highest frequency processes that we go through right now, and that at the time were very manual. So I need you to remove the manual and inconsistent behaviors that make it difficult for us to even do business with ourselves every day on the back end. And by the way, all of these interests across these three user groups were very consistent with what we wanted to deliver as an organization. Less friction, higher sales, more automated processes, better control, better ability to spot where bottlenecks happen. So with that alignment, it was a no-brainer of what we were looking for in the systems that we would ultimately choose, being Sugar and Mobileforce. On the next slide, what I want you to see here is that the most important thing we did, and what I would encourage anyone to do who's trying to look at streamlining their RevOps, is look at and map out the current sales rep experience, and see how each step either negatively or positively impacts the customer experience. You know, we're fortunate because as a direct sales organization, if the rep is experiencing friction, it's very likely because of how we go to market that the customer is experiencing friction. So this was kind of a win-win exercise to go through. We needed to answer questions like, what are the barriers to growing revenue and satisfying our customers' needs? What is taking way too long or holding up a deal? Where are we dropping the ball? Where were we maybe even inciting friction, frustration, anger, in losing deals? We had to be sure that on day one, we addressed the major landmines and the major disconnects so we could really get that adoption from our users. Obviously, technology is meant to be ever evolving, but we really needed to come out of the gate fast on day one and hit hard to deliver a better sales and customer experience that could be felt immediately. So I want to give you some examples of what that looks like within our use case here on the next slide. First of all, the biggest aha moment we had is that improving the quote to cash process for our business started before the quote. So if you're examining this on behalf of your own business case and use cases, I would encourage you to look at the entire sales rep experience, not just, you know, the moment that interest in a quotation might come through. So let me give you a few examples here. First of all, we needed to make our salespeople more productive from the moment we left their homes. They left their homes rather, not from the time that they had a quotation opportunity, you know, per se in front of them. So we did this through proximity and mapping. We call proximity planning. This allows our salespeople to visually see their entire pipeline of potential and existing customers to optimize their driving routes to hit more stops in a day. Our business is a lot like retail in that the more people you see, the more opportunities you have to sell something. So being able to enable one extra stop a day across 1,000 salespeople can have a remarkable impact on revenue overall. The other thing is we needed to make it easier for our salespeople to coordinate with the back office departments to get information and questions answered that were standing in the way of closing deals. And so by capturing high frequency workflows through business process management in the CRM and CPQ systems, and I'll give an example, the new account creation process, it's guaranteed that every department is singing from the same songbook by working in these designated systems. And by tracking the processes, we can see where holdups occur and bottlenecks so we can improve them or even have resource allocation discussions. Are we using our human resources and talents to address the true bottlenecks of where things are being held up in the process? Our biggest opportunity, though, was we had an opportunity to make sure orders could be placed physically at the point of sale at a customer's location and flow through immediately to our warehouses for same-day shipping. And this may sound simple to some folks, but keep in mind that in our legacy state, our order placement solution was offline first because it was a natively grown Windows application on laptops. So enabling a more mobile and real-time point of sale was really a marriage between the system that we chose, being Mobileforce in this case, and connected hardware, right? So giving people the confidence at the point of sale that they could say, yes, these products are in stock in the quantities you need through a live inventory check to SAP, and they're available at an agreeable, accurate price, through our pricing model, which is admittedly a bit complex. It made it possible for our DCs to start picking orders before the sales rep even leaves the customer location. So orders are shipping sooner, they're getting to the customer sooner, making the customer happier. They're getting billed out sooner so they can get hopefully paid sooner, all while reducing our DC overtime expenditure because our sales reps weren't waiting till the end of the day to get in an online state to drop those orders through our network. Really improves what you would say is classical RevOps. The last thing I'll say, and that I'll just give two examples of here to help illustrate, is that we needed to empower our reps with information at their fingertips instead of making them dig across different destinations to find answers, different reports, different systems, things like that. So an opportunity to consolidate the insights. This is true for my first example when it comes to retrieving past due invoices. Because our salespeople are the primary interface between Lawson and our customers, we ask for their help to ensure that our customers are current on their invoices. And so by having real-time on-demand access to past due invoices and being able to pull that up on their tablet at the customer location to make sure that Lawson could get to top of mind, top of the pile with their buyers, helps us to reduce our past dues and helps to reduce our incidence of collections or a customer, going to collections. So that was a nice enabler for our sales team and for our customers to keep current. Another example I'll give of delivering revenue producing information is showing sales reps through user-friendly dashboards where customers are missing an order cycle. I've said a few times that our business is very transactional, and in order for us to deliver our value proposition of optimal inventory levels when it comes to consumable small parts, it's really important that you don't skip a beat when it comes to fulfilling or refilling the products within the bins and the cabinets. And so we have a lot of customers, and it can get easy for reps to lose track of their sales cycles. So as inventory management professionals, reminding them, right, where opportunities might slip through the cracks of orders and for inventory replenishment also help to bolster what I would say is the revenue outcomes for the company. So making sure our customers don't run out and also making sure that we don't miss an opportunity to fulfill that inventory order, because we do have competitors in this space who would jump at the chance certainly to scoop up and move in on our relationship with those customers. So. All right, let me take a breath now. I gave you a lot of information. I hope you were able to stick with me. But for now, let's give Jagadish a chance here to get a word in edgewise. So Jagadish, can I turn it over to you?
Thank you, Christina. Thank you so much for that fantastic discussion of use cases, challenges that you guys saw, and how you went about addressing them. I mean, it's been a phenomenal partnership with Lawson Products. You guys certainly pushed us to think and innovate better. And we thank you for the partnership and look forward to more and more of that in the coming months. I
Thank
want to
you.
take a step back and talk a little bit about, um, in the same vein as what Christina discussed in the context of manufacturing and distribution industry. We also see some of the trends that across the board, where across RevOps, different industries, what we are seeing. I wanted to share that a little bit here, as we work with a whole host of customers who are leaders in their own industries, just like Lawson Products is here. If you look at in the current macroeconomic environment, one of the things we hear the most from RevOps teams that we talk to, this is also based on some of the surveys that were done by some of our partners, DocuSign and Forrester, which is a leading analyst researching this area. Three main things that sort of stand out that I wanted to share here. One is, obviously, as Christina talked about, a lot of people are experiencing the slowness in that code to cash is because of a lot of the inefficiencies and the handoffs, manual processes that are involved, going from sort of a pre-quote area to kind of quoting, contracting, negotiation, and order placement. So that sort of leads to speed. In fact, to our surprise, was actually the speed in response time was cited twice as often as a priority and importance compared to price by a lot of B2B buyers. So people want quick responses. People want to be able to collaborate with customers, want to be able to collaborate with salespeople on a faster pace, and I think that is driving a lot of the market today. But one thing that stands out as a big metric is a large majority, almost two-thirds of all sales quotes ended without a purchase, and there's something that we can do as about that as RevOps teams, and a lot of it goes down to really what do you do from the point of quote to make sure that you increase that conversion ratio, but also making sure that you shrink the time, that cycle time. And there's a number of things that you could do. Now, if you look at it from the perspective of practitioners, what the pain points that we hear the most from them. And when I talk about practitioners, I'm talking about people who are supporting these frontline salespeople. That Christina talked about, whether they are in the back office, whether they are in sales ops, whether they are in finance or legal, they are constantly having to be involved in the whole deal process as stakeholders. And today, if you look at it, it sort of falls across a variety of different tasks, whether it's approvals, multiple levels of approvals, as salespeople are very quickly and innovatively constructing deals and constructing discounts and figuring out what they can do to kind of get the deals done. There's certainly configuration options that come into picture when you look at manufacturing and distribution. What products are configuration, what products can actually be fulfilled, what codes can actually be fulfilled. And data integration is an important aspect, like Christina talked about inventory at the point of sale, at the point of quoting. Having that data, whether something is available or not, is crucial, because you don't want to construct quotes out there that people have to fix downstream and then kind of have to redo the whole process, because that slows the whole process down. Ability to take product and pricing bundles, which marketing and go-to-market teams are constantly innovating, constantly thinking about new ways to bundle things. You want to put that into practice as quickly as possible in the field. And also, the last but not the least, we'll live in the world of AI. We'll live in the world of where we're pushing the boundaries of what machines can do, recommending things, and recommendation systems are slowly coming in to the B2B world, where is there a way we can recommend upsell and cross sell, are things that sellers can do to help new salespeople who are coming on board be more productive, faster. And these are all considerations that are top of the mind for RevOps teams. And if you look at a lot of these key considerations, today the systems require, unfortunately, a lot of programming, technical expertise to be able to do these things. RevOps teams typically have to depend, obviously, on IT teams, maybe inside or external technical expertise to be able to kind of put these things in practice. So there's a lot of focus that we've put on how to enable self-service, how to put the power of a lot of these aspects of self-management, power in the hands of the practitioners themselves, so to speak. And the way we do, and you'll see a little bit about that in the demo that we're going to go into right now. But we will see that in the context of how we have not only innovated in making things simpler for sellers, but to Christina's point earlier, how do you also make things simpler for sales ops and RevOps teams and practitioners, where they can make these changes themselves, make better decisions themselves, where they have the information about what's working and what's not working very well in the field at their fingertips. So with that, I'm going to actually uh, move to a demo from one of our solution consultants, Tanner Fink, who was graceful enough to record a demo for us here. And I'm going to go through this, which illustrates how the power of SugarCRM and Mobileforce working together. Again, going back to the point that Christina talked about, two systems, single pane of glass, right? How does it work very well together, all the way from opportunity to quote to cash to service? Let's hear.
Mobileforce is a native application to SugarCRM now, and today we are going to walk through the power of SugarCRM plus Mobileforce CPQ and field service management. As I start my day out as a sales representative, it's the last week of my sales quarter, and I'm going to focus on closing as many sales opportunities as possible with my customers. Now, with SugarCRM's partnership with Mobileforce, I'm able to use a single platform to work my pipeline and get quotes and proposals out to my customers in a quick and easy fashion, and in the end, increasing the sales velocity of my current deals. So as I drill into my pipeline here, I'm going to focus on my proposal, price, and quote sales stage, where all of my active opportunities are located. As I move into all of my opportunities here in proposal, price, and quote sales stage, I'm going to focus on my account Gifted Holdings AG, where I actually have a sales opportunity for some home appliances. A few things I like to point out from my sales opportunity. You'll notice here I am in the proposal, price, and quote sales stage. I have my two contacts that I'm working with over at Gifted Holdings AG. And then you'll see my quotes and quoted line items here, sub-modules, which is actually where the data that's going to be populated on the opportunity. And this data is going to come from Mobileforce when we start to create that quote. Now, from a ease of use and velocity standpoint, you could use Mobileforce and Sugar through the aspect of using quick action buttons. So when I know it's time to go ahead and create my proposal, I can go ahead and click my CPQ button. And what you'll notice here is I'm actually staying within Sugar, but it's opening up my CPQ tool within Mobileforce. So directly from here, you can see it's pulling in my customer information, and I'm just going to select my contact I'm working with and sending the quote to. Once I select Donald, you'll see it actually goes ahead and populates the rest of my data here as far as address and contact information I'll be working with on my quote. Mobileforce does a great job of just setting up each tab that I need to work next. So now the next step is creating my quote. Now from my quote tab, as I start to build my quote here, Mobileforce has a very simple user interface handling complex rules and calculations, as well as large inventories and bringing in data from various third-party applications, such as tax info, shipping charges, as well as any customer contract pricing from your ERP system. Now my inventory catalog, as I start to build out my quote here, as I add my line items, you'll see it's structured in more of a folder category where I'm just selecting from a shopping catalog. And I know we're going to be selling some products and parts here. And I'll look at my appliances, and we're selling the Kenmore Elite refrigerator. And we can also use the product catalog. If I'd rather use the search functionality, I can search for any product here. As I add my products, you'll see I'll start to build a list of all the products I'm going to add to my quote. It's going to bring in those as line items, and I know we're actually selling 10 of these, and you'll see it calculate automatically for the price that we'll be selling these at. Now you'll notice with my product name here, the cooking range, well, Mobileforce also has the capability of adding in conditional options for configuring a particular product. So I know here with my cooking range, I want to go ahead and add the actual fuel type, the number of burners, and I know this is a 40-inch that I can save. Moving back to my quote, now that it all looks good, I want to make sure I validate my quote with all the rules that I have in place with submitting this over to my customer. And one thing you'll notice here is when I hit validate, you're going to notice a new line item pop up here. My standard warranty is actually a rule that I've linked within my CPQ tool to attach that to this cooking range product. So you do have some options for conditional rule setting where you can create different bundles that are attached to each other, as well as go ahead and editing and configuring that particular product you've added to the quote. Now, as a sales rep, my job's done here for now. I'm going to go ahead and submit this over for approval from my manager. Once I've submitted, it's telling me I submitted that for approval. Now, as a sales manager, I would receive an email for a request for approval where I can either with one click approve, or I can actually drill into the quote, which I'll do now. As an approver, I have my approvals tab here. I can see all the details around the quote. And if everything looks good, I can go ahead and approve this quote for my sales rep. It's going to timestamp that, seeing that it's submitted as well as approved. Now moving forward, I want to make sure I'm adding my signature to the proposal. Once I've set my signature, I'll move to my generating the actual document for my customer. With an action button here, I can go ahead and generate the document. It'll just take a few moments to prepare the document with all the quoted line items as well as customer information. Now that I have my proposal here, within your production instance, you would have the option for creating different types of templates within your Mobileforce CPQ tool. I'm just defaulting to using my products and services template. And from here, I can either download the document to take a look at it or preview. Within the document creator here, you'll notice it's a very professional proposal, which is going to include information if you want, like a cover letter where it's addressing the person you're sending it to. You can add client testimonials in here, anything about your company that you want in the template. And then here's the project summary and scope of work that we're actually going to be billing the customer. You can see on the bill of materials and service quote, it's actually pulling in those line items that I had added to the quote and merging them into our professional proposal here. And then as I scroll down, you will go ahead and see any terms and conditions that you're putting on your proposal templates, as well as the signature that I had provided for Donald. If everything looks good, I can head back to my new products and services proposal here. What I'm going to do is actually save this quote to my sales opportunity on the sugar side. So with a single click, that's going to go ahead and add those quote line items to my opportunity. And then next, if everything looks good, I can go ahead from my next tab here and actually send this proposal, attached proposal, off to Donald here. And once I've sent that email, as I'm awaiting that customer to sign off on the document, which would come automatically back into our account here, I've gone ahead and won the opportunity. And as I head back to CRM here and reload our page, you'll go ahead and see those quote line items that we had added and quoted, as well as our quote here for Gifted Holdings AG and the total value of that particular quote. And you'll also see it actually added that proposal and completed proposal to our documents PDF if I need to go back and take a look at our completed proposal. As a sales rep, I'll go ahead and update my sales page to close one. Now that I've done so, we've finished and walked through that process and ease of use of going from a sales opportunity in my SugarCRM instance and building out that quote and sending that proposal to my customer. Now that I've won the sales opportunity, my job's not done here. I want to make sure we're actually servicing our customer and having a technician go on site to install the refrigerators that we just sold. So directly from my tab here in CPQ, I can go ahead and create that SugarCRM field service case, which will be routed to my service team. And my service team can go ahead and schedule a technician to go out on site to Gifted Holdings AG and start to install those refrigerators. Next, we'll go ahead and pick up from a service aspect and how I can deploy my service technician to go on site and install the new products we just sold.
Excellent. So there you go. That's how easy it is for you to go from code to cash to a service. Now there are elements of that. Just coming back, what have the results been? It's made significant impact across our customer base, and I'm happy to share some metrics here. Many have reported improved ROI reporting, faster generation of sales data, the reduction in quoting errors, which is a key metric that we focus on across the board, has been a great metric for us to keep track of, and we are very proud to see that having made a significant impact, over 90% fewer quoting errors, which is helping them close more of those deals, and getting a large majority of those sales quotes that are being put out there being accurate, being done in time, and being completely fulfillable, which leads to more orders and more revenue. So with that, here are ways I will start to open up for questions here, and here are ways you can talk to us. We would love to have a conversation about your use cases, your challenges you see, and here's some information about how you can learn more about Lawson Products, Mobileforce, and SugarCRM, and emails. Phil,
Outstanding.
AJ.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jagadish, and thank you everyone for that fantastic presentation. And we do have a question for Christina. Christina, do you use a mobile application as Sugar Mobile, and also do you integrate your mail system?
We do have a mobile application. So the majority of our sellers interact with the systems on an Android tablet. And so they have access to either the browser experience, which is what more office-based sellers use. We do have an inside sales team that primarily interacts with the web browser, but our mobile sales team, the folks that are in the field, primarily use the application, certainly for CPQ. And what was the second part of that question?
Do you also integrate your mail system?
Sugar Connect. So for day one, we don't have Sugar Connect turned on, but that's going to be a fast follow for us. So we're very excited about making sure that that information flows both ways between Outlook. Outlook's our mail system.
Excellent. Thanks, Christina.
Let's see some other questions here. Jagadish, when you talk to other industrial manufacturing and distribution companies, what's the single most common quote to cash to service challenge that you run into?
A lot of it comes down to really understanding the pricing methodologies and the different kinds of tiered pricing, as well as also the configuration of the products. Manufacturers tend to have a lot of products on their complex catalogs, which are also fairly large, like in Lawson, over 250,000 products and SKUs in their catalog. And
let's just pause there for a moment. Fairly large is 250,000 SKUs. Okay.
Yeah.
I would consider that very
it's all
large.
Relative.
Fairly
it's all
large.
relative.
That's right. Yes. So there are not many systems that can handle that kind of scalability, right? So
Right.
Certainly that's one of the questions that people ask: can you actually handle that? But actually, more than that, it's not just about the number of items, but now what creates more complexity is dependencies between them, right? If you sell a product A and B, you cannot sell a product C because it's not compatible, because it may be a part that goes along with that. Or if you sell A and B, then you must sell something else because that completes the whole solution. So the dependencies between those rules are complex. The other aspect of it is also the different routes to market that they may have. They may be selling direct, they may be selling through resellers or distributors, and they have different price books. They may have different tiers based on different customers, where certain customers who buy a lot in volume, they may have a more favorable pricing for them versus retail pricing. And the ability to choose the right kind of price book entry for the exact same product, for the exact same SKU, depending on the situation at hand, is a complexity that we come across. So those are by far the two biggest challenges. Being able to do that in real time, especially when people are in the field, is a significant challenge.
And Christina, are you taking advantage of the pricing rules capabilities of Mobileforce and the price book and the multiple price book capability? Is that part of your deployment?
I'm smiling because I'm not sure. Jagadish, I don't know about your other clients, but I think we've worked this area of the system out pretty darn good. It's not just the number of products we have, like Jagadish alluded to, but it's also the variations and the pricing that we offer based on, the industry that the customer is in. Do we have a contract in place or not? So we've definitely broken this capability in for Mobileforce. I think we were probably a difficult client in that regard.
Well, I'm curious, Christina, you mentioned earlier in your part of the presentation that you had a homegrown tool that sounds like you had
Yes.
developed inside of your own IT organization.
Yes.
What took you from, when you build a homegrown tool, it's always ends up being exactly what you asked for, right?
Mhm.
Because you got
Yeah.
to define every single aspect of it. But what led you to the point where you needed to look for commercial off-the-shelf software?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. And there's a lot of reasons I think that's probably a best practice. I think number one is we're in the distribution business. We're not in the technology building business. And so in order to take advantage of the latest and greatest, right? Or even something as simple, we all can relate to getting updates on our iPhones or on our Android devices, right? New operating system comes through and there's cool features we want to use and leverage in the business to get those best practices. You're not going to keep up with that in-house, right? That's just not our core business. The other thing
So would it
is,
be fair to say you had the perfect system at a point in time, but over time it wasn't?
yeah, at a point in time. But then you just can't keep pace with what the best practices are just in that technology space in general. You don't know what you don't know because you work for one company within an industry, and you're not seeing what other companies are doing or what other industries are doing well that could be leveraged within your space. So that was really important. The other thing that led us specifically, because we do have a very mobile and out and about sales force, is the Windows application, which is an offline first solution on a laptop. When we have much more mobile friendly access and technology out there, like interacting on tablets, like having cellular data service, it was going to allow us to meet our goals from a ease of doing business standpoint versus losing the productivity of having sales reps not able to place orders at the point of sale,
Yeah.
And have to stop somewhere else to rewrite that order or transpose it from a written state to a digital state. There was a lot of reasons.
Well, what's the phrase
I'll
that
keep it brief.
time
Keep it
kills
brief.
all deals, right? You need to
Yeah,
be speedy. You need
absolutely.
to be on top of it.
Yep. Well, especially in the world we live in that is very omnichannel, right? There's always someone just over your shoulder ready to eat your lunch. I used to be a sales leader, and time is not your friend, especially when it comes to being in a transactional business like we are in. So, a lot of reasons. I would be happy to elaborate, but
Great.
we're on the
Well,
clock.
let's go a step further. You're in production. You're using the system.
Yep.
What's in your mind right now, off the cuff? What's the single most important benefit that you've seen coming from this?
Visibility. And I'm speaking admittedly from a senior leadership perspective, but
Right.
from a CRM standpoint, and I don't think I mentioned this, but we did not have a CRM prior to this. And when you talk about the cost of operating a sales force and having a value proposition at the scale that we offer it throughout North America, there's almost no corner of North America that goes uncovered, the way that we have our reps organized. That's huge in scale. And to only have transactional insights through our ERP system, which is SAP, you're missing the stake. What really happens, or really to understand how to coach better sales outcomes, you have to understand the non-transactional activities. By the
Right.
time the order happens or the quotation happens, it's kind of too late, right?
Well,
What got you there?
99% of the selling has already been done,
It's
right?
over,
And how do you tune
right?
the process, right?
Yeah. And so previously we were capturing that through, it's kind of a cloud-based Excel system called Smartsheets. it's not scalable. It doesn't roll up. It doesn't drill down. No, and not offense to the Smart Sheets people, but it's not a CRM, and
Right.
it's not integrated with order placement. So I feel like if you can't have one without the other, if you're going to coach a modern, successful sales force, you have to marry the transactional with the non-transactional to get the most vibrant picture, the most accurate picture of what's going on at a macro level on your sales team. So does that answer your question?
Visibility was the number one
Visibility,
benefit
yes.
from your perspective, certainly running sales operations and sales enablement. Let's flip it around. Let's ask the tough question. What was your single biggest challenge going from old to new?
People, right? We're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
We get used to doing certain things, right? Our days have a rhythm. We're creatures of routine and familiarity. And to shift that, even change in its most perfect state is disruption.
So what did you do to address that challenge as part of your role?
Well, I would say we were very responsible and deliberate about rolling it out in a very measured way. So we didn't try to go too big too soon. We said, let's take baby steps here. Now, don't get me wrong, the company is moving very quickly.
Right.
So baby steps are relative, just like the number of products in our catalog are relative. But we said, let's go little by little and learn, have a good feedback loop, a quantifiable feedback loop that allows for qualitative input. I know that seems contradictory, but if anyone would like to speak about how we did that, I'd be happy to. And address those concerns as they come in and give it time to breathe. But acknowledging at the same time that the problems that you had when 50 people were using the system are going to be different than the problems you have when there's 300 or 800 or 1,000 people on the system. And so just having that mindset on the project team of we are going to take this as it comes and we're going to one bite at a time eat this elephant. That's been a big part of our implementation philosophy. And so far it has served us well.
If I would like to
start small, think big, move quickly, right?
Yes, that is much more beautifully put. Thank you, Clint.
Also, I was going to say that your decision to involve all the three key stakeholders, the salespeople in the field, as well as the executives, as well as the sales ops team, fairly early on and every step of the way, I think was a critical decision, and it served the whole process well.
And I think, Jagadish, that people feel combining those two together, right? So having different phases of implementation and having those people feel ownership over the feedback that is given and taken, combined with the fact that we've had these audiences involved since the selection process in the evaluation team, right? And so we've slowly been growing the scope of folks' involvement in different areas and involving different groups at different times, that by this time, and I think I counted it the other day, as far as the project is concerned, not users that are live on the system, but the project, we've had over 200 people touch this project with their opinions or feedback at any given point in time over the life of the project. It takes time to do that. But I'll also say that we brought our first people live within 10 months of initiating the project. So we moved fast, but we didn't sacrifice the change management part of it. So it's possible to do both, is what I'm saying.
Excellent. Well, I see we're pushing up to the top of the hour here. I'd like to just do one last call to Julia. Any other questions submitted from the audience that we might have missed so far?
No, Clint, I think we got everything.
Okay, outstanding. Well, with that, Christina, a very distinct pleasure to have you join us today. Love the insights that you shared with us. Love to hear all the great things that are happening at Lawson Products with just a mere 250,000 SKUs. It seems like such an easy problem to solve, but no, it sounds like, frankly, a lot of complexity in your business, a lot of moving parts. and we're just thrilled, Jagadish and I both are to work with you, and wish you all the best of success in your new role, guiding
Thank
the
you.
global efforts across sales enablement and sales operations. Jagadish, I got to tell you, you are a fantastic partner to work with. You're one of the best of the best. You set a brisk pace. You make it happen. You deliver on what you promised, and you couldn't ask for anything more. As a business partner of SugarCRM, I want to thank you, and I want to really thank you for the success that you delivered to Lawson Products. And for everybody on the phone today, everybody who's part of this GoTo webinar, we thank you for taking time to learn more about how Mobileforce and SugarCRM can accelerate your revenue operations goals and deliver on the business metrics that you need to deliver. So thank you very much for joining us. Wish you all the best as we go into the end of the year here. Enjoy your holidays and have a great day.
Thank you, Clint. Thank you, Christina. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.